So welcome back to another tactical video, guys, and in this one we're going to talk about Manchester City. We're going to take a look at the formation and the tactics that I made loosely inspired on Pep Guardiola. I took these tactics into the cup gameplay that I posted yesterday, like 70 minutes of pure gameplay. If you want to check out how the tactics actually worked in game, you can head over to that video and check it out. I will sprinkle in some highlights here and there from that gameplay into this video. But generally, I want to keep this short and sweet. I'm just going to highlight the aspects of Pep Guardiola's tactics that I incorporated into this 4-3-3 tactic that I used here. So let's jump into the tactical screen and get started. So here is the formation that I used, and I did use the default 4-3-3. The default shape, you see it's a little bit slanted in the midfield for some reason. Rodri is a little bit towards the right. KDB is a little bit higher than Ilkay Gundogan in the midfield there. I didn't want to bother changing it, and I don't have any opinion if this is a bad or good setup. I just kept it. But keep that in mind, that is not something I did. That is just a default placement. There are some things to keep in mind when you want to try to play like Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. So if you remember back on PES 2021, I did do a Pep Guardiola tactical video. Back then they played with a false 9. If you remember, there was like a season where they actually used Bernardo Silva, they had Ferran Torres, they also used KDB as the false 9, and Gabriel Jesus was actually playing right wing. So back then, Pep Guardiola was doing false 9 even though he had a good striker. Now they are going with a pure number 9, the tap-in master himself, Erling Haaland, and it's going to be a little bit different because of that. But there are some principles that I did try to incorporate here. So number 1, he likes to play with a lot of width. So basically what it means, they try to overload wide to get situations where they can cross the ball into the pitch, into the box. I think I read like a couple of seasons ago, I'm not sure if this applies still, but Manchester City is one of the teams in the Premier League that crosses the ball most. They have the most crosses into the box. So basically what they do, they try to overload wide, they play with a decent width, try to stretch the defense, try to use runs from the midfielders and from one of the fullbacks, try to exploit space, overload, create 2-on-1s. And they try to whip the ball into the box and fill with players so that they either win the first ball, get the first time shot on goal, or they're able to pick up like a loose ball. If there's a clearance, if there's a block, if there's anything, they try to push up, try to win the ball back and win that second ball to get that rebound or loose ball shot on goal or finish on goal. And of course, that kind of tactic is going to work perfectly when you have a guy like Haaland here, especially in FIFA. Because Haaland is going to be in the middle there. You can play wide with the wingers. You can especially use Joao Cancelo as overlapping fullback. He can overlap, he can underlap, he can do the inverted run, he can do whatever you want to do. Because Joao Cancelo is extremely good for a fullback. He's actually more like a midfielder in terms of skill. He can pass, he can dribble, he can tackle, he can do whatever. So basically what you do here is you try to do the overloads. You can do a lot of cutback passes for the tap-ins with Haaland, which is very effective. You can use Mahrez, you can use Grealish, you can use Cancelo. Try to dribble, try to play yourself into a good situation inside the box and do the cutback for the easy tap-in. Another thing to keep in mind is when they attack, they like to really push their midfielders up. And this is why Ilkay Gundogan a couple of seasons ago was actually the top scorer on this team. Because he would do a lot of runs from his midfield position into the box, finishing on those crosses, finishing on those overload plays where he made a late run into the box, got the ball for the easy finish. This also applies to a certain degree to KDB, although because of KDB's playstyle and his skill set, he is probably more useful around the box instead of inside the box, although he is very effective inside the box as well because he has a good foot and you can do some dribbling with him actually to try to get loose, and he also has a good shot power, good long shot, decent finishing for a midfielder. So basically you can finish with a lot of players here. You have at least 5 players who are very good at finishing. That would be the wingers, Haaland, and the central midfielders, Gundogan and De Bruyne in my setup right here. You could start Bernardo Silva as well if you want to do that. But the main point is that the central midfielders around Rodri are gonna push up and be kind of like hole players in PES. If you remember that playstyle, very popular playstyle for a central midfielder that basically would make him act like a striker, like a second striker, basically. Okay, so that's the forwards. Then at the back four is basically going to turn into a back three kinda when you attack. Joao Cancelo, send him up there, he's going to push up, he's going to join the front lines when you attack. As I said, he can do the inverted run, he can do the overlap, whatever fits into the in-game situation right there. He's gonna adjust his run and he's gonna join the attack. Kyle Walker can also join the attack, but it's not gonna be as aggressive going on the runs. You want him to be kind of like in the middle to add that defensive stability. So basically when you attack, you're gonna defend with Laporte. Rodri is gonna push a little bit up, but it's still gonna be holding back a little bit. So it's gonna be Laporte, Rodri, Diaz and Walker are pretty much gonna be your defense. And then Ederson is going to sweeper keeper like he does in real life. Extremely good with his feet. He can pass. Typical modern goalie. And when you defend, Pep Guardiola likes to employ that 7-second press. Try to win the ball after a possession loss. Try to win it. If they don't win it, they fall back. Try to be a little bit more patient. They do play like an advanced kind of defense that I'm not sure is actually possible to implement in FIFA with the settings you have right here. But they do like a very selective man mark press kinda. From what I've been reading, they do press in certain areas. It really depends in which situation the opponent has the ball and if they are wide or in the middle. So I'm not going to go into specific on that because I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to play like that in the game. But we want to do the high press, try to win the ball back. We're not going to be like super possession based like Pep Guardiola is in real life. He wants to win the ball back to keep possession and have control of the game. It's not going to win the ball back and try to go for that quick counter and be super vertical. That is not the way Pep Guardiola wants to set up his team, although I guess they are a little bit more aggressive now than they've been before because they have Haaland as an in-behind threat now. You don't want to pass the ball around just to pass the ball around. When you have the chance to go on a counter, you're going to take it because this is FIFA online arcade game. We're going to try to win the ball back and we're going to try to exploit the counter opportunity if it's there. But if you win the ball high and there's no space to go on the counter, we're not going to try to force a bad pass and then lose the ball immediately. We're going to instead try to pass it around a little bit until space opens up and try to build wide, go for the overloads. That's pretty much it. That is what we're doing. So we're gonna take a look at let's take a look at the tactics. As usual, I'm gonna leave the player instructions in the pinned comment below, so you can take a look at it there. It's pretty much gonna be set up the way you have to set it up to try to play like I just explained. So I'm not gonna take 2 or 3 minutes in the video explaining the instructions because I think you're gonna get it once you see it in the comment, okay? So let's jump over to the tactics to see what I set up there. So we have the press after possession loss. So this is going to basically activate the 7-second press after we lose the ball. We're going to defend with a 60 width. We're going to have a 60 depth. I'm not entirely sure this 60 width is accurate when you compare it to real life tactics. So keep that in mind. But I set it to 60 for some reason and it worked okay. So I kept it there. I have not experimented anything with it. I might do an entire season in Division 2 trying out these tactics and I might tweak it, but I will let you know in case I do that. Depth is going to be 60. You want for the high press to be effective, you need the entire team to be high on the pitch. So when you do the press high, you force the bad pass and your defense has to be ready to intercept those bad passes. That is why you need the depth pretty high. If you have like a low depth and you're doing a high press, there's no one there to take the bad pass and they might be able to play out through your press because there's no one covering the opponent's forwards trying to intercept in front of them, right? Then for the offense, we're going to have the balanced build-up play. I think this is actually possession by default. Like Pep Guardiola is a possession coach, just like Xavi and Mikel Arteta. But this is, as I said earlier, online play in FIFA. So we're going to do balanced, so it adjusts the movement to the opportunity that we have there, like the in-game situation. We're going to do chance creation on direct passing. We're going to try to pass vertically. We're going to try to hit the wingers. So the winger have the ball. I'm going to wait for the play to develop, the overlap. Try to get some runs from the central midfielders. Try to do some combinations. Overload wide. Play into the box. See if we do a high cross or if we maybe do like a cutback. We can adjust it to the situation. But the point is we get these players moving up and trying to overload and trying to play our way through. And by doing that, we pass directly instead of having players run and then passing into space. We want players to be in position and passing to them and then go, if you know what I mean. The opposite of this would be forward runs. Just to explain that real quick. So forward runs is basically going to trigger the runs before you do the pass. And this can leave you a little bit of exposed. If you do the forward run and you're not able to get the pass off, the player is running in the wrong direction on the transition against. So direct passing is a little bit safer and you still are able to play vertically quick football. Width is going to be 50. Players in the box, we're going to have 6 because they like to stack the box with players trying to win the loose ball, the second ball, the first ball, get the finish on goal. Corners 3, free kicks 2 as I usually do. If you want to get like a more in-depth analysis of how they play, how Pep Guardiola likes to play, maybe you can check out my previous video I did like a couple of years ago. It's the most popular video on my channel, only like almost 7,000 views, explaining the Pep Guardiola with the false 9. Maybe you can pick up some other stuff in that one. But I think this tactic is it's decent for online play. I did play a cup tournament and I did win the cup tournament using this. And I faced teams like, I think I faced PSG, Real Madrid. I also faced Manchester City. And then I faced RB Leipzig in the final. And I won the cup. So it's a decent tactic. It might not be perfect. I only played 4 games, so I didn't experiment all that much. But it definitely was good enough to have a good time with. So if you decide to try it out, let me know how it worked out for you. Like the video if you liked it. If you disliked it, dislike it. Stay tuned for more tactical videos and gameplay videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Take care. Until the next one. See you guys.